Hey friends. A couple of weeks ago, I noticed that when I plugged in my phone to charge it, it didn't charge. That was a little frustrating. So I pulled it out and I put it back in and I tried to wiggle it around, and then I picked up the phone and I held it, and I noticed that if I held it at just the right angle, then it would start charging again. Well, as I continued to try to charge my phone in the future days, I would have to continue to try to find just the right spot and lay it down gently and make sure that it would charge again. It was frustrating. It was difficult. And so ultimately, I realized that it was time to just get a new phone. So, got a new phone ordered. It came in, and I went to transfer all of the things from my old phone to my new phone. And then, even though everything transferred over, the only thing that didn't was the cellular service. So I went into the Verizon store to try and get my phone set up, and they said they couldn't help me. So then I tried to call the number, but they couldn't help me. So then I tried to do things on my own and look it up on the computer and do all the troubleshooting, and nothing was working. Finally, I restarted the whole situation, and I started the transfer of the phones again. Only this time, it took away cellular service on both phones. So now I had no way to talk to anyone. I couldn't get the help that I needed. Eventually, I waited until my daughter came home from school, used her phone, called, and finally got it all set apart. But ultimately, I spent like 8 hours trying to get all of that squared away. Now, I realized very quickly that even for all my frustrations, it was kind of silly. If my greatest problem in the world is that my cell phone wasn't working properly, I live a pretty charmed life. A cell phone, though it has many good uses, isn't necessarily an absolute need. What is something that you do need? Things like oxygen. Things like protection from the cold winters that it seems like we're finally getting out of. Things like water. Those are things we need. Because water, for example, water keeps our bodies hydrated. Our bodies work on water. It keeps us clean. It keeps us refreshed. It does all sorts of benefits that we all know, and so water is something that we need. But in truth, when we talk spiritually this weekend in worship, we're going to understand that even the water that we so desperately need for life on this earth isn't our greatest need. We need water that will help us live for eternity. And that's the water that Jesus offers. He met a woman at a well, and he talked to her about living water, water that doesn't cause you to be thirsty again, water that will spring up inside you into a well of living water itself. And that, of course, is the message of Jesus, working faith in our hearts and applying the salvation that Jesus won through his perfect life and his perfect death to you, so that you can live for all of eternity. That is something that we need, and that is something that we can't find on our own. That is something that doesn't come through searching. That is something that only Jesus can give to us. But thankfully, he doesn't make us spend 8 hours trying to work on it and trying to figure it out. He gives it to us as a free gift, and he just lets us hear about it through his word. This weekend in worship is another opportunity to take long, big swigs of that living water that will well up in you for all of eternity. May God bless you as you gather around that living water this weekend in worship. Peace be with you.